Okay, welcome to the Prophecy Club. Today we're going to be talking with Jonathan Rose of Genesis Gold. You can reach him at prophecyclubgold.com. You can also get prepper bars, and I'll let you read the background behind me for all of that information. So he's a Christian, and he has a Christian-based gold and silver and precious metals company. Been in the business 30 years, 20 years he's owned it, and treats his people real good, and you can trust this guy. So my first question is, okay, so the markets are going crazy right now. What is going on from your perspective?
Yeah, it's a good question. And thanks for having me back on, Stan. Obviously, people are very nervous about a lot of fiscal policies and new tariffs that the Trump presidency has laid out. And President Trump's moving very fast, and he's trying to initiate essentially a trade war with Canada, Mexico, even China now, Russia now, Europe. There's some big problems that are appearing in the stock market. I would call them cracks. And it has people obviously very nervous because there's a lot of instability that's happening. And when the instability arises and bubbles to the top, people move to a higher ground. They move to what's known as safety and security. And if you've been watching the price of gold, you've been seeing it go up week upon week. And people are like, wow, how high can this go? And that's a whole nother story to talk about. But obviously with imposing sanctions, imposing tariffs on countries, it's causing a lot of friction and a lot of uncertainty. So right now we've seen the stock market go into what I call very seasonal extremes. You've had some very big hedge fund people vocally say that the everything bubble is about to burst. So the everything bubble is something I always talk about because it includes not just volatility, but it includes, trade deficits. We're over trillion dollars, excuse me. I wish it was $1 million, Stan. We're $36 trillion in debt. And I always say debt does matter. So we have all of these issues worldwide that's going on. And now you have the top people in the stock market, the top brass, as we say, and they are technically doing something that they haven't done in a long time. What does that mean? Well, these top hedge funds are now selling stock and they're sitting in a cash position. Why are they doing this? Because the writing's on the wall that we're about to experience. We're seeing the very tip of the spear here. We're about to experience a major correction in the stock market. And even Warren Buffett, the great oracle, last year he was selling, billions of dollars worth of stock in Bank of America and Apple. Well, this year he's selling his S&P 500 ETF stock. What does that mean? Well, the S&P 500 ETF stock gives you exposure to the market, but if it goes down, then you don't make any money. Well, he's offloaded that too. So even Warren Buffett is saying, this market, if you're in a big cruise ship, it's choppy. And we've seen those cruise ships when they're at ocean, take a battering. It's not pleasant to be on. This is what the retail investors are about to feel. And the reason why this is important is simply because a lot of retail investors like me as well, probably yourself, if you have IRAs or 401ks, these IRAs and 401ks are invested in all of these stocks that these top hedge fund people are getting out of. So, maybe retail investors are coming through the front door, but these big hedge funds and big banking corporations are running out the back door and they want to get out of the market and they want to sit in cash. Now, my opinion is we're going to see at least a 20% correction in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And when that happens, it could be a lot worse than that. Some people are saying, look, the recession alarms are being waved right now. Some people are even saying depression. I think the panic that's ensuing right now is very evident in the marketplace. I like to be a little bit more level-headed and think that we're just going to have a correction. And President Trump said it best in his State of the Union address. Well, it wasn't quite a State of the Union. He was just addressing the nation. And he really said flat out, expect to experience short to midterm pain before long-term gain, right? And this is what we're talking about. Now, some people, Stan, may say, well, it's fine. The markets will come back. And I agree with that sentiment. The markets will come back. But the question is, how long until it comes back? Is it 7 years? Is it 10 years? This has happened in countries like Germany before, where it's taken 20 years for these markets to return to their former highs. So the reason why this is an issue is because if you're a baby boomer or you're retiring or you're looking to retire in the next 4 to 5 years, you can't afford to wait 7 years for the market to come back, right? You want to make sure that the money that's in your retirement accounts is going to be there when you retire. So for those people, having a commodity like gold and silver really does make sense, because owning physical commodities during a time of unrest, uncertainty, volatility, that's the definition of moving into an asset that's a safe harbor. So a lot's going on in the marketplace. You don't want to be like an ostrich and bury your head in the sand. You want to be proactive, not reactive, and understand what's on the horizon, what's coming to us, and how that could affect your financial goals and your retirement age, and what you can do right now, because there are moves that you can make right now, Stan, to protect those retirement dollars.
Okay, well, right now the big hubbub is over all of the tariffs. Where do you see our finances going in the next 3 to 6 months based upon the tariffs? And I think you're kind of saying there's going to be some hiccups, but down the road it'll be good. But what do you see the tariffs doing?
It looks like we're at a little bit of a stalemate right now. The tariff war, I think, is just beginning. Canada is doubling down on now threatening to cut parts of electricity supply off to America. Big tariffs are really not going to affect the US as much as it's going to affect Canada. The gross GDP for Canada's imports to the US only equates to about 2% the low 2% for the America's GDP. But for countries like Canada and Mexico, America's GDP equates to 20 to 30% of their gross domestic product. So it's going to hurt those other countries a lot more. And quite frankly, President Trump is sick and tired of countries like Canada having the upper leg on us with these unfair deals that were cut many, many years ago. And unfortunately, right now, we're still picking up the pieces from the Biden administration and paying the price. So again, these new changes, they're not radical. They are just simple economic plans to right the wrongs. And in doing so, Stan, we are going to experience continued short-term pain. This is very evident, right? Because if you look at the stock market, or maybe you're too scared to look at the stock market because you're seeing red every day, expect to see a sea of red for quite some time. But knowing that, you don't have to take it on the chin like everybody else. There are things and moves you can do to safeguard and protect those finances. Obviously, I've been a big advocate for gold and silver for many, many years. I used to work for Merrill Lynch, Morgan Stanley, worked on the London Metal Exchange. I have been in the precious metals and finance business, since I was since I was 18, Stan. I actually worked on the
years ago, right?
Years gone by. I won't say how old I am right now, but it's let's say half a century. Okay, so I've seen the evolution of the markets. What I'm seeing right now is we're in uncharted waters. We have never been in a situation like this before. And what do I mean by that? Well, we have all the global uncertainty, not just domestically, but internationally. But we also have this terrible noose around our neck, which is called the trade deficit. And $36 trillion, we are going broke, okay? Don't get me started with assets or social programs like Social Security and Medicare. By 2030, they are going to run out of money because we're now living longer. So where is all this extra money coming from? No one knows. And this is technically why the Doge, the government waste program by President Trump and Elon Musk was created to sniff out government waste, where we're wasting billions of dollars in taxpayers' money. We still haven't, scraped the top of that, of the surface with that yet.
Elon Musk found the God mode, which allows him to bypass all usernames, passwords, firewalls, everything in all of the government computers. He has total access. Let me jump to this. All right, now, I assume you can't see that, right?
I can see that, yes.
Okay, all right, well, let me read what it says. This is from HalTurnerRadioShow.com. This was from a caller on his program last night. Headline, Fortress America. Trump preparing for global financial collapse, European capital controls. Now, I never heard of capital controls. I'll explain. He says, every once in a while, a caller to the Hal Turner Radio Show to Kings brings in an absolute gem of information. He talks about Trump needing to erect a Fortress America for the coming global collapse. He also shocked nearly everyone when he revealed that $10 trillion has come out of the European Union over the past few months. In other words, this is money and companies leaving Europe like rats leaving a sinking ship, and you can imagine they're coming to America, as Trump has been saying. Anyway, coming to the European Union over the past few months, and that no country, no continent can afford that kind of removal of capital. So capital controls are supposedly going to be implemented in the European Union, perhaps as early as April 7th. Below you can hear that 5-minute call, and we won't go into listening to that 5-minute call. But what the call says is that basically the European Union is going to stop all monies, all companies, all capital from leaving the European Union, boom, period. Now, you talk about something, I mean, you think tariffs is a problem? If they do this, if all of a sudden European Union says no more money, no more gold, no more silver, no more euros, no more companies, no more capital of any kind leaving the European Union, sir, what do you see happening if that happens?
I think an all-out chaos. I mean, I hate to say World War III, right? But there's a big divide that's obviously happening right now in the country. You know, whether it's Europe, whether it's NATO, America has even mentioned that, hey, you know, we're sick and tired of looking after the world. You know, NATO, you guys take over the check. You can foot the bill. We're sick and tired of using taxpayers' money. Keep everything in house. We'll take care of our side. You do the same over there. You know, this morning also we're talking about Russia escalating and not signing the peace treaty, and President Trump's in Russia right now trying to, you know, get a deal done. And if it doesn't, he's going to impose harsh financial economic sanctions on Russia. So there's a lot of poking the bear. There's a lot of disagreements happening with world leaders right now because the global world is in a process of not realigning, but there's a global shift. There's like a power struggle that's reemerging, and separation is happening amongst countries. And at this point in time, the cracks are showing. And I'm actually concerned where, as these economic policies are changing, these tariff wars that are happening, currency devaluations around the world, I feel that we could be heading to something a lot stronger, a lot more unfathomable. And that could possibly be a World War III. Now, God forbid that ever happens. But I know you've talked about, you know, end times and how, you know, things can come from bad to worse with what's happening globally. And I think what you're prophesizing, Stan, and what I'm reading, it's almost like day by day, and I hate to say that you're right, but day by day, we're kind of seeing everything that you're talking about coming to fruition. Well, and I hope I'm wrong.
In the program that I made it yesterday, and so it's posted today, so it'll be today's program. I said, first of all, I don't know when. Okay, I don't know when these things are going to come, but I said, but if you were to ask me, Stan, when do you think? I would say, look, we've got 21 million people, because we've got about 1 million people that's got laid off in the last 30 days from our government.
Yeah.
We've got some 20 million people that have snuck over the border in the last 4 years. Most of them don't have jobs. And also Trump is cutting all welfare off of those illegal immigrants. So we've got about 21 people that are out of jobs, and it's just going to be a matter of a few weeks to a few months before they are picking up signs, as Shane Warren said they would, saying, give us our entitlements. We are on the precipice of some difficult financial times. Now, here's my question. I think anybody that watches Prophecy Club doesn't have to be told that. I think they know that. I think there's a fear. I think they're scared. They just don't know what to do. So here's my question. Let's say somebody's watching that's not broke, like most of us Christians, and they've got a pile of money. Let's say it's in a bank, IRA, 401k. It's in some form of asset that should the stock market crash, should the dollar be devalued by a third. I mean, that's what the prophecies say. And it's overnight without warning, down a third. And then finally, the dollar is worthless as leaves blowing in the wind. Now, here's my question. Let's say they've got a pile of money. What do you suggest they do? They call you, and then what do you say?
It's a good question. So from a strategy point of view, based on market conditions, there's two actions that I would take right now, and that's diversification. Okay. First action I would take is to make sure that my retirement dollars are protected. I do that in assets like gold and silver. It's got a proven track record. It's been here since the dawn of time, as you know. It's not going anywhere. It's solid as a rock. So my first move is to make sure I have some spendable gold and silver at home, and also I protect an IRA through a tax-free rollover. So when they go to prophecyclubgold.com, they can get some information from us, and that information will show them how to do a tax-free rollover from wherever they're at, their current investments, into precious metals that you get to hold on to, right? And again, tax-free is the key word here. And really educate people on the importance of gold through our investor library. And we're kind of like a precious metals concierge, okay? A lot of times people want to invest in precious metals. They don't know how to do it. So when they go to prophecyclubgold.com, because we know that they're your viewers, we take extra good care of them. We hold their hands and we walk them through the whole process from A to B. So that's my first step I want to take. My second step I take is, as you know, I've been in these financial markets for a very long time. Not as long as you've been preaching, Stan, but still a very long time, over 25 years now. And one thing I've learned from these big banks is the banks always win. Wall Street always wins. They sell us these financial products that maybe get you 5-11% annually, if you're lucky, keeping pace with inflation, which they do not, right? And they sell us these mortgages, which keep us in debt for many years with these high interest rates and the burden around us. And we're always trying to find out, how do we get further in life? And how do we become financially independent? Well, one thing that's happened in the marketplace right now is a catalyst, and that's the crypto revolution under President Trump. He has outlined how he's going to make America the US capital of the world, crypto friendly for assets like Bitcoin.
Right.
Now, I was saying, and I'm not sure if it was with you or maybe another show host, but I was talking about at some point later in the year, President Trump is going to make assets like Bitcoin and add it to the US Treasury sheet. It's going to be mass adoption. Well, I was right and wrong on that. I was right on it, but I said that this would probably happen at the end of this year. It happened a couple of weeks ago.
Right.
That timeline blew me away, how quickly that happened. So what does that mean? Well, it means that crypto is here to stay, folks. And there's a mass adoption that's happening. And more importantly, I can't stress this enough, Stan, there is a transfer of wealth, like a mass transfer of wealth that's happening in this country. And it's happening with assets such as Bitcoin and other cryptocurrency. So questions people ask me is, how can I buy cryptocurrencies safely and securely? And this is why we also created blocktrustira.com. Now, Blocktrust IRA is a platform where if you have a retirement account, also like an IRA or 401k, you can also roll that over tax-free, tax-deferred into cryptocurrency. You know, why is that so good? Well, because, you know, when you're trying to accelerate your retirement, you know, cryptocurrencies returns have been absolutely stellar. But the second question people ask me is, well, I'd love to invest in cryptocurrencies, but I'm a little scared, I'm a little nervous because isn't cryptocurrency volatile? And I say, absolutely. cryptocurrency is indeed volatile. And that's why at blocktrustira.com, we partnered with this revolutionary company called Animus Technologies. And to kind of put it into layman terms, Animus has developed this AI tech that won a global award through Bitcoin Magazine. They are like the authority on everything Bitcoin. And what this AI tech does, Stan, is very, very intelligent. It really tells our investors when to get out of the market. When is the top? That's when we sell. And then it waits for the market to drop back down, and then it buys back in at the bottom. So it protects you by selling near to the top, not at the very top, right? But near the top as we can get. And then it will buy back in at the bottom the best it can. And it repeats this process. Now, why is that important? Okay. Because last week, something incredible happened. Our AI tech through Block Trust IRA sold our IRA and cash positions when Bitcoin was at 99,000. Today, when I'm speaking to you, Bitcoin is at 82,000. Everyone's sitting in cash. It recognized that the market was going to go down. It hasn't bought back in yet, but when it does, it's going to save people millions of dollars, because if you would have just had an old-fashioned strategy of buy and hold, you'd be down. You would have lost. So we've really ticked that box too. So we help people, buy cryptocurrency safely and securely. And then we provide them with this 24/7 monitoring, almost like, you can buy credit monitoring. Someone's trying to break into your credit. You get these alerts. Well, it does it all for you. You don't have to watch the market every day, worry, the cryptocurrency market's down. When they have what's called managed accounts with Block Trust IRA, we are literally have a security guard watching your portfolio 24/7. And if there's anything in the market that triggers a buy or a sell, it does it for you automatically. And the big takeaway from this is it beats the benchmark. What does that mean? Well, it beats the buy and hold strategy. So since 2022, Bitcoin, if you held Bitcoin since 2022, you'd be up roughly about 425%. Not bad, okay? We're not going to argue with those numbers. However, if you would have had BlockTrustIRA.com's Animus strategies through the AI, you would be up over 625%, which is also unbelievable. Now, we're not trying to be greedy and boast about the 200% over returns, but the point being is it manages risk. This is what,
like having a friend in the business watching the screens for you, except AI is not just watching one screen. My understanding is it's watching basically the whole world for trends, and then it knows when to buy or sell to keep you out of trouble, right?
Yeah. And let me just preface this. You're not, people that do this, they're not giving their money to some robot in a room like Hal with a red light. Okay. It's you're getting the best tools on the market provided to the best traders on the market. So, when we have these top-notch tools, it helps mitigate downside risk, and it also helps capture the upside above and beyond the benchmark. So they are my two plays right now in the market. With crypto, the reason why I like cryptocurrency, because I was never a believer. In 2014, 15, I purchased Bitcoin. I got out of Bitcoin. It wasn't until I saw mass adoption happening that I was like, okay, I'm a true believer that this is here to stay. But the difference with cryptocurrency, Stan, it doesn't have an opening bell or a closing bell. It trades 24/7, 365. So when that happens, a market that doesn't sleep, but we do, we could be asleep and something could happen. China could invade Taiwan, right? Something could happen in Europe, and it could send the markets into seasonal extreme. And unless you have that caretaker, unless you have that security guard watching your portfolio and knowing when to buy and when to sell.
Okay, then let me ask you a question. Okay, let's take a worst case scenario. So let's say we've got somebody that's got $1 million, and they put $1 million in this trust block IRA. If I said that right, okay, monitored by the AI, and the stock market crashes what would happen to our $1 million we put into some kind of a crypto? What would happen?
Good question. It's all dependent if the trading signals are telling us to buy or sell. If the stock market crashes, it may have an inverse relationship to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin rises. Fantastic. We buy and hold. But if we start seeing people flee Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in the market, or there's some negative news in the market, then the AI system will read millions of data points around the world from social media, economic growth, jobs, forecasts, CPI, all this economic data, and it will tell us now's the time to buy in and hold, now's the time to sell. Okay. These strategies have only been available to hedge funds. Okay. Animus Technologies, who partnered with Block Trust IRA, we brought this to the market. We brought this to the retail market because Animus Technologies has only been working with hedge funds and high net worth individuals. So we've taken these strategies that are already being used, already super successful for these ultra rich elite millionaires out there and corporations who are using our signals to buy and sell. And we're bringing that down to the retail market for people who have IRAs. And maybe you don't have an IRA. In fact, Stan, we get a lot of people for Block Trust IRA, and they ask us, hey, I don't have an IRA. Can I still invest? Or we get lots of people from around the globe. Hey, I'm in England. I'm in the Netherlands. I'm in Australia. I'm in Canada. I'm in New Zealand. We get emails daily or phone calls saying, hey, I saw this AI tech. This is exactly what I'm looking for. How does it work? And that's the first part with anything, right? How does this work? Get an education, get an understanding. So the first thing I would tell people before they do anything is to go to blocktruστira.com. If this sounds intriguing to them, they can download one of our free e-guides that's going to explain a little bit more about the crypto market, talk about our strategies, and then from there, they can even book a free consultation with one of our crypto specialists to see if this is a fit for you. Because to a lot of people, Stan, cryptocurrency is still new, and a lot of people still can't quite wrap their head around it, but they understand that Trump's pushing crypto. How do I get involved? How do I do it safely and securely, right? When it comes to gold, people know what gold is. It's been around since the dawn of time.
Okay, so let's summarize. So if you want to get a hold of them to get IRAs or 401ks into gold or silver, just to buy gold and silver, it's 800-200-GOLD, 800-200-GOLD, or 800-4653, or prophecyclubgold.com. If you want to get some of these, the prepper bars, this is about the size of a credit card. It breaks into smaller pieces. You can get that in either gold or silver. If you want to get some of these, then you go to 844-771-1776. And if you want to get crypto turned into IRA or 401k, my understanding how it works with going in there. Anyway, you go to blocktruστira.com. Jonathan Rose, thanks for being on Prophecy Club.